And then, I saw that all the fighting of the king. Oh, Trump's a king, Trump's a king, Trump's a king. Say what you want. Very happy that it wasn't a violent protest. So kudos to those who protested. It wasn't violent. So I look at it this way. Right or wrong, is there any right? Is there any wrong? It's just beliefs. What their beliefs are, at least they're doing something. It has been way too many years that people sat there going, yeah, whatever happens, happens. Let the government do it. It's not happening. There's still people doing it. But, so either way, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. But it's nice to see people this could have been very violent, and it wasn't. So something is happening, and it wasn't violent. But don't worry about any of it. I said, oh my gosh, if people, this is all they watched, I could see why they're all dying of heart attacks. Crazy. Right? All right, so let's get into, don't worry about anything. Just take your energy. If you're going to get upset about something in your country or here in the States or whatever, and it's like you want to just spend your time watching this news and freaking out, I would suggest this. Shut the TV off. That's why they call it programming. What program is going to be on today? Shut the TV off and put that energy into this. I guarantee you your life will change. You'll see the truth. I'm telling you. Everything that's going on is written in here. Everything. It's amazing. To me, is the most amazing thing how this can actually go through every year and match what's going on. It's so encoded. It's so quantum. And if you sit down and ask to see it quantumly, you might have a change of what it says. Get to the quantum field. Everything changes. They can't touch you there. Just saying. All right, so let's get going. All right, so today's episode 13, lucky 13, is in Matthew 18. So everybody get that Matthew 18. We're going to go through Matthew 18. At the same time came the disciples unto Jesus, saying, who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven? And Jesus called a little child unto him and set him in the midst of them, and said, verily, verily means truth, verily, I say unto you, except ye be converted and become as little children, ye shall not enter into the kingdom of heaven. Now, being as little children doesn't mean being a pain or butt in the butt or anything like that. You know how kids can be. What he means by this is the purity of little children. I say unto you, except ye be converted and become as little children, ye shall not enter into the kingdom of heaven. If you don't get your heart aligned with the purity of like a child, you're not going to make it into heaven. So we're still in Matthew 18:4. Whosoever therefore shall humble himself as this little child, the same is greatest in the kingdom of heaven. And whoso shall receive one such little child in my name receiveth me. But whoso shall offend one of these little ones, which believe in me, it were better for him than a millstone were hanged around his neck, and that he were drowned in the depths of the sea. Woe unto my world because of offenses, for it must needs be that the offenses come, but woe to the man by whom the offense cometh. Wherefore, if thy hand or thy foot offend thee, cut them off and cast them from thee. It is better for thee to enter into life halt or maimed, rather than having 2 hands or 2 feet to be cast into everlasting fire. And if thy eyes offend thee, pluck it out and cast it from thee. It is better for thee to enter into life with one eye, rather than having two eyes to be cast into hellfires. Take heed. This is number 10. This is our first one for today. Take heed that ye despise not one of these little ones. For I say unto you that in heaven their angels do always behold the face of my Father, which is in heaven. So that's today's first command from Jesus. Despise not one of these little ones. Do not despise the little ones. Now, the little ones doesn't mean children. If you get into the place and you ask it with eyes to see and ears to hear, what's he really talking about here? The little ones are people who believe. So Matthew 10 states, see that you do not despise one of these little ones, for I tell you that in heaven their angels always see the face of my Father who is in heaven. This is part of a larger discourse that they're talking about. We're just reading Matthew 18. But when Jesus was emphasizing humility and the importance of it, and for about caring for the believers of Jesus, especially those who are vulnerable or weak in faith, those are the ones who are on the fence, right? Which way do they go? Do they fall? They can go either way. Those are the representations of the little ones. They're little in faith. So the believers in Christ is the term the little ones. It means like all the believers, not just the children. It's all the believers. But you should treat every believer with love, compassion, nurturing, just like you do a child. If you disrespect, all those ones out there that make fun of the Jesus freaks, right? If you disrespect, Jesus warns against this. If you look down and you neglect to take care, even if you are a believer, and you neglect to take care of the newbies, we'll call them, okay? The little ones. You don't hold any value in God's eyes when it comes to that. So it's very important. Just like a little baby needs to be nurtured, needs to be fed, needs to be raised into a beautiful adult. That's the same with the little ones of the faith in Jesus. The new ones, what I call newbies. They need to be nurtured. This is why community is so important. Instead of talking about stupid politics and the ridiculous crap that's going on in the outside world, and guess what this one said? I gotta leave. I can't do this. I'm doing this. Instead of all that nonsense, converse, discuss the word. And don't throw it down someone's throat. Don't throw it in their face. This is what it means. No. Just discuss it openly. And if they're looking at it, so, this whole book is written in parables. It's written for those that have eyes to see and ears to hear. More importantly, the hearing, right? It's one of Jesus's commandments. And if they see it differently, if they only see what the word says, the actual words, you all know people like this, they read it word for word. That's what it says. That's what it says. But the book is written in parables. It's written in quantumness. It's written in the quantum field of the Christ light. It's written different levels for the little ones to the ascended ones. It's a book on ascension. It's a book on faith. It's a book on knowing who you are. So if you discuss it and someone says, well, it only, and you say, well, I have a different opinion, very nicely. You shouldn't be arguing this. Very nicely. And if they don't believe it, have a nice day. But you planted the seed. And maybe a year from now, they'll go, wow, I remember someone, they may have heard it differently from someone else, but then they'll go, wow, I remember Nadine telling me that like a year ago. Wow. Maybe they need to hear it 10 times before it clicks. You know, I'm just going to go down the list of how I left the chat. So maybe Lori said, well, this is what Matthew 6 means, you know, whatever. This is how I see it. And maybe Terry got to speak to the same individual and said, well, you know, I see Matthew 6 this way, which is the same as Lori sees it, but she said it differently. And the one still didn't get it. And then maybe Nadine said, well, yeah, that's true, but I interpret it this way, which is the same as Lori and Terry, but she used different words. And then maybe there's the bing, the aha moment. The seed was planted, it was watered, and it started to grow. And Nadine just put the last shine of sunshine on it, and it sprung up. You don't know, but that's what we're here to do. If you really claim to be a follower of the divine, you don't hate anybody, you don't knock anybody, you stay away from those who convert people from Yeshua, Jesus, from the Bible, from the Christ light, from the living God to the dead God. That you stay away from. Okay? So let's go on. We're going, it also signifies in that verse the angels. What does it say here? For I tell you that in heaven, their angels, people miss that little tiny word that says there, their angels always see the face of my Father who is in heaven. What's that saying? The little ones, the newbies, they're always in the presence of the divine. Remember, we have the Spirit of God in us. We are the Spirit of God, the living God. We are the living God. The Spirit, it's in us, right? So the angels see that. They see the face of my Father in them. So imagine you looking at people that you can't stand, and let's face it, don't lie, we all hate people in our lives, despise them, whatever, like, ugh, right? Let's imagine you looking through the angel's eyes. You're looking through the Christ light. You're looking through the Spirit of the living God that is you, and see who they are. They are exactly like you. They are the brother and sister of you, but they're just lost. They have been living in the satanic matrix, this third level earth plane, where programming has convinced them they are nothing. And you are not nothing. You're a child of a divine. You are the child of the living God. You are heir to the throne. Everyone that has a label on them as mankind has that as an inheritance. Whether they choose to be the horrible child who walks away from their family and flips them the bird and says, never again, I hate you all, and goes off in another direction. That's their desire. But the ones who stay, the ones who hear the calling in their heart, but they don't know where, what, who, they've been so embedded with the earth plane programming that they're on the fence, the little ones, the fragile ones. the ones that need nurturing. And they may say the stupid, darkest things. But look at them. Look at them through the eyes of the Christ light. You'll see the very Christ light flickering in them. That's what he's trying to say. And the angels, he's saying, the little one have angels. They have guardian angels over them. And the angels see them. They see the face of the living divine creator in them. And the angels are constant. They're the constant presence. What's an angel? It's Raphael, Gabriel. It's I-E-L. It's always E-L. A-E-L, I-E-L. It ends in E-L. Ariel, Raphael, Michael. It means of God. They carry the message of the living God. Every angel, with the exception of two, and I'm not getting into it because they were men first and then they were brought up to the level of angel. Not getting into that. But every angel, including Satan, his name was Hallel. Ariel ends in the L. Elohim, God. Elohim is God. So, the angels carry the presence of God within them. And their role is to protect, to nurture, to hold the light for the believers, to keep them aligned with who they are, the spirit of the light within them, to hold them in truth of who they are. As Freddie Prinze said in Chico and the Man, it's not your job, it's their job. Not my job, man. It's the angels' jobs. That's their job. That is what they're here to do. They emphasize so strongly the importance of God's realm. And they bring it to you. And they bring it to you. So important. So Matthew 18:10 is a reminder of the value of nurturing, compassion, and the need to support, to assist, to hold. When a believer falls and stumbles because they tripped over the rock of Satan, you know, they're so happy, and they're walking down the street, and bam, there's a program. It's a great big boulder, but they're too busy. And they didn't pay attention to the dark one coming up, and they trip over the boulder, and they stumble, and they fall flat on their face. That's when you come, as they like to say, to the rescue. You reach down, you put your hand out there. They want to take it, fine. They don't want to take it, that's their desire. And you lift them up again. You nurture them back to the divine. And if all of us did that, just think what this place would be like. Remember the old saying, it takes a village to raise a child? It sure does. So, number 1 for today, number 33 in the series is do not despise the little ones, the believers. Remember, the angels see the face of God in them. So all those that you really dislike, step back, take a deep breath, get in your Christ light, and look through the eyes of the Christ light. And maybe you'll see a very scared, very frightened individual. You know, it's like the whole COVID thing. So many of us knew that the shot was ridiculous and these people are wearing masks. The masks didn't even prevent anything. Most of the people who got COVID was the ones who got the shots and wore the masks. The ones who didn't never got it. I mean, there was a lot. I'm not even going to go into it. But the point is, so many so-called patriots, so many Jesus freaks, because the patriots consider themselves, well, we're, Jesus and God, and, right? But what were they all saying on these truth shows? Oh, look at them. They're riding in the car by themselves and they got a mask on. They were making fun of them. We all did. Don't deny it. Oh my God, did you see that Momo at the beach? Nobody's there, but they're in the water by themselves with a mask on. I know somebody who brought that up. Me. Middle of winter. They're swimming in the ocean on Long Island when I went to visit Mom. I had a mask on. No one else is. Only the dolphins and the seals are in the water, right? So I brought that up as a joke. Oh my gosh, look at that. But where was my compassion? Why were they doing that? The amount of fear that was brought into those people from our so-called governmental, the governors, the govern, right? Government. They blasted this fear so insane that here, one who holds the living light, the Spirit of God, the temple of the Spirit of God is so fearful. They're believing Satan over who they are. They allowed the satanic BS. So instead of looking at these people like, oh my gosh, look how stupid they are. They're wearing a mask. Don't they get it? Don't they get it that this is all a hoax? Don't they get it? Which you've heard many people say that. You can't deny it. Even if you didn't speak it out loud to someone else, when you're driving in the car and you saw someone all alone in the car and they had the mask on, you probably went, oh my God. But now if you look at it through the Christ light, if you take a breath and you look at it through the eyes like the angels would see, the Christ light, the Spirit of God that is you, now you have compassion. How scared are they? They're panicked. They're so scared. Do you know how many wives and husbands got divorced over this? I'm not getting this shot. And let's say, I'll just say the wife this time. It went both ways. It's not just men or women. But their spouse is going, get it. Oh, you got to get it. If you don't get it, no, you got to get it. And they weren't telling them because they wanted to kill them. They were telling them because they believed so much that if they didn't, they were going to die. And they were so scared. They brought their children to get the shot. And now look at that. When you look through the eyes of the divine, which is you, you see it completely different. Wow. Wow. You know, I got to give kudos to Florida. DeSantis is making vaccines for school not important. You don't have to get them. These kids don't need 70 shots anymore. There'll still be those who believe that they have to, and not knowing that every time they inject them with these things, they're giving them all kinds of garbage to destroy them. But Are these mom and dads bad, evil? No, they're the little ones. They're on the fence. They're beginning in their faith. They can't hold strong to their faith, and they sell out their faith for things of lesser value. And instead of, do you know how stupid you are to get a shot? That's not gonna, nobody wants to be told what to do. Instead of that, maybe if we all approach them from a place of this, we could have changed the world. We had an opportunity. And we didn't do a great job. Okay? So let's look at some supporting scripture for that. Luke 1:19. More people. And the angel answering said unto him, I am Gabriel, that stand in the presence of God, and am sent to speak unto thee, and to show thee these glad tidings. Gabriel, the messenger of God. I am sent to speak to you as a messenger of God. And I'm telling you, from the bottom of the pits of my heart, as deep as I can go, from the divinity that is me, you can hear the angels. You can hear Jesus. You can be one with the Christ light in the quantum field. I'm telling you from experience. Tuesdays and Thursdays, I just get this information. Where do you think all this is coming from? This isn't coming from me. I sit down, I get to the Christ light, and I say, what is it you want me to do? And I listen to the best of my ability, and I'm obedient to the best of my ability. And this is what comes out. You can do this. Got the angels to come to speak to you. Listen to them. Listen to Jesus. Listen to the divine. Listen to Yeshua. Emmanuel Su. So let's go to Hebrews 1:13. Hebrews 1:13. But to which of the angels said he at any time, sit on my right hand until I make thine enemies thy footstools? He's asking, which one's going to sit on my right hand until I can rise above my enemies? That's what it means, make them my footstool, not to beat them and kick them, to rise above them. 14, are they not all ministering spirits sent forth to minister for them who shall be heirs to salvation? That's the same thing. They're ministering spirits. They are the Spirit of God. What are they? They are ministers. What are they? They are ministers. They're the Spirit of God ministering to what? To the believers. For them who shall be heirs to salvation, heirs to the kingdom of heaven, heirs to the throne of the living God. That's you. You have angels ministering to you. But you know why you can't hear them? Oh, look what someone said on Facebook. Oh my God, did you read this? Did you read that? Sit in the silence and hear. Go into the quantum field of the Christ light and hear. Have ears to hear. That's the important part. So, number 33 in the series, number 1 for today. Do not despise the little ones, the believers. These are what? The children. But he's not talking about earthly children. He's talking about the children of the living God. Doesn't matter if you're 90 or 12. There are a lot of people who've came to God, the living God, right before they die. 95, 80, Right when they stop working, they have a little more peace. They can feel things. They're not so busy. 60, 70. And then there are some that come at 12, 13, depending on their moms and dads. They're all the children of God, not the children of the earthly plane. That's not what they're talking about here. All right. So let's go to Matthew 18:11. Let's continue. For the Son of Man is come to save that which was lost. What was lost? Mankind. How think ye, if a man have 100 sheep, and one of them be gone astray, doth he leave the 99 and goeth into the mountains and seeketh that which is gone astray? And if so, be that he find it, verily, truthfully, I say unto you, he rejoices more of that sheep than of the 99 that did not go astray, which went not astray. Even so, it is not the will of your Father which is in heaven that one of these little ones should perish. What's he saying? The little one that strayed away. It's not God's will for let them to to perish. That's not God's will. Remember the parable in the Bible where there was two sons, one stayed at home and did everything right, and the other son went out, spent all the money, just went through his inheritance, and he came back, and the father worshiped him so much better, and he praised him, and the son who stayed home said, basically, Dad, I did everything you asked. I stayed here, I supported you, I followed, I did everything, I grew the farm, the business, everything. And you never threw me a party? Why are you throwing him and honoring him so much? Because he was lost and is now found. That's the same thing this is saying. The 99 who didn't wander away, they're strong. They're tight in their belief. They're not leaving Jesus. They believe in it. They have conviction in their belief. They have faith. But the one little sheep that wandered away, he was on the fence. The divine knows these 99, they're inheriting the kingdom. But I can't lose that one. That's why there's a celebration back. Celebrate that he was lost and now he's found. Years ago, way back in the day, I struggled so much with that verse. Why are they celebrating him? He blew all the money and everything, Just like me, I was the good kid. And nobody's making a big deal about me. But my siblings are being... Good job when they come back. Good job. Excuse me? What about me? My favorite expression. I never get any credit. That's where that came from. What about me? It's the same thing. I was never lost. I never turned over to Satan. I may have done stupid things that were aligned in with Satan, but I never lost the foundation of who I was. The little one who's on the fence, the new believer, doesn't matter the age, 12 or 99. They're on the fence and Satan's pulling them away. Do you see the difference? Now it makes sense. They're getting lost. They're going down to the pits of hell. Throw them a life jacket. Pull them back. And the shepherd went. He left his 99, right? And he goes and he wanders into the hills and the mountains. And he finds his little sheep. And he carries them back. That's Jesus. So Matthew 18:14. Even so, it is not the will of your Father which is in heaven that one of these little ones should perish. 15. Moreover, if thy brother shall trespass against thee, go and tell him his fault between thee and him alone. If he shall hear thee, thou hast gained thy brother. This is the second one for today, number 34, but the second one for today. Go to your offenders. So, what's this saying? Just like that little sheep that wandered away, the ones who are trespassing against you, offending you, they're the sheep. They're the ones being drawn into Satan. They're wandering. They're losing their faith. If they were standing in the faith and the light of the Christ light, they would not be attacking you and offending you. Capiche? So, what does Jesus command you to do? If thy brother shall trespass against thee, go and tell him his fault between thee and him alone. Go to your offenders. Don't make a big production. Don't go tell the rest of the family. Friends, neighbors, posting it on Facebook. Do we know anybody like that? Don't go and do it. Go to them alone and tell them, you offended me here. If he shall hear thee, thou hast gained thy brother. If they hear you, you found the lost sheep and you brought him home. Unfortunately, a lot of them don't hear you. And if they don't hear you, and they've already surrendered and had the desire to follow lesser things, then what does the Bible tell you to do? You do your best, the very best in the Christ light, to find the lost sheep. You climb the mountain. You go through the woods, over the river. You deal with the snakes. And way off on the other side of the mountain, there's that lost sheep. And you go up to him and say, do you want to come home? You want to be with the other 99 of the flock? Or do you want to be out in the wilderness all by yourself? And you pick him up and you carry him all the way back home. But if he goes, nah, okay, I'm a little crazy sometimes, nah, doesn't want to come home, then you have to honor him and go back until they're ready. But you check in on them from a distance. All right. So go to your offender. It also provides remember, they're talking about a fellow brother here. It's a brother, meaning it's not satanic. It's not a satanic individual. It's a brother, which means it's part of the flock. So this is someone who is a little one who believed in Satan and sinned against you. So what's it really saying here? It's saying you have to go to them and address them one-on-one. Go to them alone. Don't go in front of the ministry. Don't do any of that. and discuss the issue. Why? Because this allows hearts to be heard. But you don't do this if you just want to scream at them. And then you state the issue from compassion, because what are you doing? You're the what? You're the stronghold. You're the one that has the faith. So you're looking through the eyes of the Christ light. And you can see the light. You can see the messengers, the angels who are looking at that little one and sees the face of God, the living God within them. That's what you're looking to see. So you're sweet and kind to them. You have compassion. And you clearly state what they did wrong to offend you. Sometimes they did nothing wrong, and sometimes it's on you, and you will find that out. But if you can converse like a true light of the divine, it'll all come out in the wash. The one true goal about this is to foster faith, love, comprehension, and resolve it. But you can't go and start yelling at them. You know what you did? This is what you did. You piece of poop. You nah. That just makes, where you coming from? Anger, which is satanic. You're not looking through the eyes of the Christ light. So the whole point of this exercise is to be the good shepherd and bring back the lost sheep. And if you can't resolve it, bring it to another shepherd. Bring it to someone who's strong in faith, because you're involved in this. And maybe you're slipping. It's what we like to call mediators, right? In this third level plane. Bring it to someone else. And that's what this is all about. All right, so let's look at some more scripture that supports all this. Let's go to Leviticus 19. Leviticus 19. Leviticus 19:16. Thou shalt not go up and down as a talebearer among the people, neither shalt thou stand against the blood of thy neighbor. I am the Lord. 17. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart. Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor and not suffer sin upon him. Don't do these things. Don't condemn them. Thou shalt not avenge, nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people, but thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. It's a saying there. What do we all do? The knee-jerk reaction. Piece of crap. We all do it. Don't deny it. Why? Because that's the programming we were raised in on this third level earth. Gotta get even. Gotta get revenge. What's the famous expression? Oh, there's nothing so sweet as revenge. Revenge is sweet. What is that telling everybody? Angry dolphin. Whole school, a whole flock of angry dolphins. No revenge. It is not sweet. It takes you away from the Christ light that is you. You shall not avenge. You shall not bear false witnesses. You shall not hold grudges. None of that. And here's the thing I hate to discuss. But in this world, sometimes we can't settle the differences. So we have to get the law involved. And this is where Jesus says, if somebody steals your coat, give him your cloak. We did that in one of the other episodes. Why? You don't want to take it to the law. Give it all away. Because why would you stand in front of Satan to make a judgment against or for you? Why would you claim Satan and his minions to have the authority over any situation of a believer, of the living God? Think about that for a minute. So the next time you want to take someone to court, or you get dragged to court because someone's suing you for $10,000 from something you didn't even do, give them the 10 grand. If you don't have it, what could I do to make this go away? If you sit down and you chat with them and say, even if you go to court, all we're going to do is you'll get a judgment against me. I don't have the 10 grand. What can I do to make it right for you? Some of them won't listen. And sometimes, no matter what you do, you can't resolve it. But don't fight the fight. Don't allow yourself to stand under the authority of Satan and be judged. That brings a whole new meaning to all these people suing everybody. If you come from New York like I did, the first thing you do, you learn to sue people. I'll sue you. Wow. That's the world of Satan. All right, let's go to 1 Corinthians. 1 Corinthians 9. Okay, 1 Corinthians 9:19. For though I be free from all men, yet have I made myself servant unto all, that I might gain the more. What's that saying? I'm free from all men. I stand in divinity. But have I made myself servant unto all, that I may gain the more? What's the more? The kingdom of heaven. I'll gain more, as I like to call it, more stars in heaven, more brownie points. I'll align more with the Christ light. And unto the Jews I became as a Jew, that I might gain the Jews. To them that are under the law, as under the law, that I might gain them that are under the law. They're under the law of Satan. They're not under the law of God. So he became one of them, basically to infiltrate. Remember, this is Paul writing to the Corinthians, right? To them that are without law, as without law, being not without law of God, but under the law to Christ, that I might gain them that are without law. So what's he saying? He's under the law of Christ, not under the law of Satan, the third level earth. He's not under that law. So he went, basically, I'm going to put this kind of funny, he went undercover so that he could show them the law of Christ. This world has so many different cultures and beliefs, traditions, honors. You know, some of them are so far-fetched. Oh, it's crazy. But what Paul's saying to the Corinthians here, it's a beautiful message. You must be willing to meet people where they're at. just like Paul did with his ministry. He went in as a Jew under the law to speak to them. And remember the verse where they asked Jesus, why are your disciples sitting with sinners and tax collectors and publicans and all that other stuff? Remember that verse? We did that, I think, last week. Why? This is why. They're going under the cover of Satan. They're going to the the part of society you don't want to go to. And if we can be like Paul and learn to communicate like Paul in the Christ light and go to that level, because we're one of the ones that can hold our faith, and then we can show them the light of God, we may reach some of those lost sheep and carry them back home. Make sense? That's all it's trying to say. So Matthew 18. But again, before we go there, I want to say you don't throw it down their throats. This is some of the arguments that I get that people come at me with. Well, we're supposed to be healing, and healing does not mean putting hands on, doing Reiki. Oh, I made the cancer go away. No. Healing is bringing them back to the flock, to the head shepherd, Yeshua, Ben Joseph, Emmanuel, Isu, Jesus, whatever name you want to call him. Bring them back to the flock. That's healing them. The only reason people have discord in their system, dis-ease in their system, is of their belief system. Bring them back. And if they can gather and muster up the faith, then they're healed. And then it doesn't matter if they transition, because where are they going? To the kingdom. They have eternal life. Matthew 18, 21 through 23. Let's go to Matthew 18. Let's go find number 3 now. So number 2 was, go to your offender. That's number 2. Let's go to number 3. Matthew 18, 21, continuing. Then came Peter to him and said, Lord, how oft shall my brother sin against me and I forgive him? Till 7 times? What's he saying? Jesus, this is Paul. Jesus, how many times? I only have 2 cheeks. How many times do I have to take them knocking me down, offending me over and over, over and over and over? How many times? Till 7 times? And what's Jesus' response? Jesus said unto him, I say not unto thee until 7 times. I'm not telling you 7 times, but until 70 times 7. And what's the purpose of that? What's the purpose of 70 times 7? It doesn't matter how many times. Would you do it 1,000 times if you were able to save one of the children of God from Satan? That's basically what he's saying. 70 times 7, 490 times, 500 times, 1,000 times. I don't care. But if you're not coming, and you see the sheep wandering off in the distance, but you're not coming from the Christ light, you're coming from ego. I'm going to get them back. You're crossing dominion. I spent years explaining dominion. And I know I'm going to have people go, well, how is that crossing dominion? I know that's going to happen. But you had to comprehend through the depths of who you are what dominion is. You don't cross their dominion. You go out. You're a good shepherd. You're a shepherd's assistant right now. You're a disciple. You're an assistant to the head shepherd. You go out and you find the sheep. And if you're not strong enough in faith, you come back to the head shepherd and you give them the coordinates. You know, Yeshua, I found him 3 mountains away, under the brush near the cave. I can't bring them home. They're not listening to me. Send in the next shepherds, the angels. Go to the head shepherd and say, remember, you're a shepherd in training. Go to the head shepherd and say, Yeshua, Jesus, Emmanuel, what should I do? Do not decide from the 3rd level P what you should do. That's crossing dominion. Go to the head shepherd. What is it that you would like me to do? You are in service to the head shepherd. What is it you would like me to do? Try this. Okay. What do you think all this is about? I told you all from the beginning. I learned as a very young child, 5, 6, 7, I was chatting with them. I learned the structure of the divine. There's a whole structural system. I know about the quantum field. I can connect to all that stuff. I never learned this. Why? Because I was of the mentality that was drilled into my head like everybody else. Man wrote the Bible. And when Gabriel came to me, he said, read the Bible. And I said, are you kidding me? Man wrote the Bible. And as God is my witness, I saw Archangel Gabriel, clear as I can look at any one of you, standing on the side, arms crossed, hip out, doing this. This is where this comes from. So, you're telling me the creator of all, that is, and all that will ever be, can't get a book written? And those words were like a brick falling on top of me. You know, the anvils from the cartoons? Boom! Oh my gosh. Where do I start? And I did not even have a Bible in the house. I had one of these tiny, tiny ones. It was this big. It was a precious moment one. It came with the precious moments that somebody gave me as a gift. It was in the little box. That's all I owned. Then I went, well, where do I start? What Bible do I get? What do I do? And I just had peace come over me. And as God's my witness, my friend Mikey, who I just met, who lived 45 minutes away, didn't even know where I lived, knocked on the door and brought me this very Bible. And it was dated. And he said, I was in church and somebody gave me this. You know, they were handing these out and somebody handed it to me and I thought of you. Was he a good shepherd? Was he in the flock? And I sat down that day and I started to, I said to Archangel Gabriel when he left, where do I start? He said, I'm like at the beginning, he goes, start at the New Testament, then go back to the beginning. And when I started to read it, and I've done 12 years of trust law, I went, oh my God, this is a trust. In God we trust. That's what it means. And my whole world started opening. All the structure of the divine was now being shown. I saw how Satan took this and created the 3rd level plane, and everything changed. You just go back and ask, how can I get that little sheep, the little one? And the path will be shown to you. It will be shown one way or another. But if you don't see it and you don't get the message, stop. Jesus, send somebody with stronger faith who can see. Because then you're not doing it through the eyes of the Christ light. You are doing it through third level satanic ego. Make sense? All right, let's go to Matthew 18:21. Let's finish this up. Then came Peter to him and said, Lord, how often do I do my brother against thee, and I forgive him till 7 times? Jesus said unto him, I say not unto thee until 7 times, but until 77 times. So number 35, the third one for today, forgive your offenders. Doesn't matter how many times, just keep at it. 23, therefore is the kingdom of heaven likened unto a certain king, which would take account of his servants. So Peter's asking, how many times? There's no limit. No limit. Would you limit how many times you have to throw a life jacket to someone who's drowning until they finally catch it? Think about this. You see one of your brothers, one of your sisters drowning in the ocean, and you're on a boat, and you throw them the life jacket, and you throw them the life, it's not a jacket, it's a ring. You throw them the life ring, and it's too short. They can't get to it. Do you stop? I tried. No, you pull it back in and you throw it again. I tried twice. I'm not going to do it. 7 times, 20 times, 50 times. You would not give up on your loved one until you got that ring around their neck, if you will, until they were able to grab it. And then you can pull them back to safety. Would you just let them drown? No. There's no limit to how many times you must toss out that life preserver to get them safe. Remember, they're offending you and treating you like garbage because why? They are under satanic belief. They left the flock. They wandered away. And they don't have the protection of the flock anymore. And they're out there for the lone wolf to get them. And what happens? They get in fear. They get scared more. And the more they get into fear and the more scared they get, the more, right? What happens? They get deeper into the satanic realm. Do you stop looking after them? Do you stop tossing them the life preserver? No. There's no limit. It's unlimited. So what is it really saying? Mercy has no limit. There's no bounds to it, no limit to it. Just keep going. Unconditional forgiveness. It's unconditional. And it sounds terrible, and I just went through this. You all know, but quite a few of you know my story, and I'm finally getting it right after a year and a half, 2 years of it. So you go to your offender, you address your offender quietly. If you can't get them, you go to the flock and ask for assistance, right? And you don't give up on them while they're drowning. It's just like this. They're drowning in the ocean, and you keep sending them, throwing that life preserver at them, and they're not catching it. And while they're drowning, they're yelling at you, "You freaking idiot, can't you throw a help, I'm in need, what are you?" you don't take offense to that. They're drowning. They're terrorized. You think if your sister, your brother, your wife, your husband, your child was drowning and they're cursing you out because you can't throw it far enough, you think you're going to stop throwing it? Heck no. You're going to ignore everything they're saying. You want to save their life. You love them. It's the same thing. They're offending you over and over and over. They're your brothers and sisters of the light. You are all light. We are all one in the light, the Christ light, the quantum field. We're all the spirit of the one true living God. Just because they call you an idiot or try to sue you or try to steal your money or try to hurt you, they're drowning in Satan's pool of slop. Ignore it. You can't drag them up, but you can throw them a lifeline. So now you finally get it. You throw the lifeline the 120th time, or the 780th time, or the 1000th time, and they grab it. And then they say, pull me in. You can't bring them back to the flock unless it's their desire. That's the difference between dominions and crossing it. But there are consequences of unforgiveness. And what is forgiveness? Forgiveness doesn't mean, oh, it's okay, you treat me like crap. No. Forgiveness means I'm letting it go. I'm not holding on to it. I'm choosing peace. So when you go back to that scene of your loved one drowning, while you're throwing that life jacket and your loved one screaming at them, they're drowning in the sea, the ocean, sharks around them and everything else, and they're screaming at you, "What are you, a freaking idiot? You can't even get it, throw it to me." You don't not forgive them. Well, I'm not going to throw you that life jacket because you're talking to me nasty. But how many of us do that with friends, neighbors, relatives? You want to talk to me like I'm a piece of poop? I'm not talking to you. Would you do that to someone who's drowning as they scream at you, as they go under for the 15th time, and you can't seem to get it right? You can't get that life jacket out far enough because you're not strong enough in your faith to throw it that far. And finally, you may say something like, "Me and you, Jesus, we got this." And that last throw, it reaches them. You didn't have the strength to throw it far. Well, that's the same with people. You may not have the strength to face your neighbor or your relative that's treating you like crap. Me and you, Jesus, we got this. You go back to the shepherd, the head shepherd, because you're just a baby shepherd. You're a little one when it comes to shepherding, but at least you're on the shepherd path, And you say to him, "How do I do this? What do I do?" And he'll show you. And true story, for years, I can't even tell you how many years, maybe 2000 to now, 25 years, I don't know. I really don't know the actual number. But for years and years and years, I've been trying to write a book about the structure of divine and how to get back into who you are and to take authority back. And I have started it, this is stupid, started it. And it wasn't until, what was it, 4 days ago, 5 days ago, 6 days ago? I don't even remember when. I sat down and I said, I don't know what else to do. I tried everything, Jesus is just not coming. can ask Robin. I even went to Robin. I said, can you transcribe some of this stuff? Maybe I could put it in. And she was doing it. And I sat down and I said, I went to the shepherd without even thinking. I never did it before. And I went to the shepherd and I said, Jesus, you want me to do this? I don't know how. Just like when I said this, you want me to read the Bible? I don't even have one. I don't know how. I don't know what. Boom! It appeared. I didn't even have to decide which one. It came. I did the same thing. I don't know how. I'm falling flat on my face here. And you can ask Sam and Robin and the council. I've been sharing it with some of them, Kristan. I wrote over 300 pages overnight, and I don't type. I'm a hunt and pecker. Where's the dumb G? Come on, where's that G? That's me. I'm an engineer. I'm not a typist. I'm not like Robin, who just, and she's typing. If I didn't look at the keyboard, I would be writing a language that nobody ever heard of. And I wrote 300 pages, and I've read some of it to some people, and I've read it to Dave, and I've read it to a few people, and oh my gosh, their insides awaken with it, because it's not my words. What was I trying to do? I didn't know how to awaken those who are looking to awaken, but they don't know how. I wasn't an experienced shepherd. So I went to the experienced shepherd. Finally, 20 years, wasting time. And it's done. Now I'm just organizing it. And I'm not organizing how I want to organize it. Okay, great job. How do we put this in format? And now I'm doing it. You can accomplish anything when you go back to the shepherd, when what you're trying to accomplish is aligned with the inheritance of the kingdom of heaven. Maybe some of you are experiencing dis-ease issues. Go back to the shepherd. What do I do? The first thing he'd probably tell you is shut your mouth about it. Stop running to everybody saying, I got this, I got this, I got this. But listen. Listen. So what's the, let's finish this up. What's the consequences of unforgiveness? If you don't forgive, there's massive consequences. You may not make it into the kingdom. What does the Our Father say? Forgive them their trespasses for crossing dominion. They're calling you an idiot, right? They're drowning. You stupid idiot. You don't know how to throw a life preserver. Forgive them their trespasses as I forgive you. If you do not extend mercy, don't expect it when it's your turn, your time to face the divine. All this making sense? So let's go to some supporting scripture, and then we'll do our meditation. Luke 17:3. Take heed to yourselves. If thy brother trespasses against thee, rebuke him. And if he repent, forgive him. And if he trespasses against thee 7 times in a day, and 7 times in a day turn again to thee, saying, I repent, thou shalt forgive him. Remember, forgiveness is not saying it's okay. Forgiveness is letting him come back to the flock. And what does rebuke mean? You know, I don't know if you people know what rebuke means, so I just heard to tell you what rebuke means. It means to admonish. So it's the same part as, but if he comes back to you, if you sit down and say, you hurt me because ABCD, and they say, they flip you the bird, You rebuke them. You wash your hands. You puncture the pilot. You wash your hands. Clear of it. You dust your feet off on the way back. But then if you feel this one night, you're standing here and there's a tap on your shoulder and they say, can we chat? I didn't mean to hurt you. You do not hold a grudge. And if they screw up again, I'm weak. I did it again. I apologize. It's not being a doormat. It's saving the sheep, because remember this, the wandering sheep that leaves and comes back, and then it's already been under the influence of Satan. Satan has its cords and ties. It's got a life. He's got a death jacket around him. And you've got a life jacket around him. And this little sheep is being pulled this way to Satan, and then this way back to Jesus, this way to Satan, is going to flounder. He's a little one. He's new to his belief. As disciples of Jesus, you just keep throwing the life jacket. So, number 35, forgive your offenders. Don't turn your back on them. It's a duty. It's a duty of the shepherd to go after the lost sheep. And each and every one of you who choose to be disciples, you're just being shepherd in training. I'll do this again. So, if you choose to be a disciple of Jesus, Yeshua, Emmanuel, you are not one of the flock, the sheep. Well, you are, but you're not. You are the lion. You have the power and the authority given to you by the divine creator. The Spirit of God is within you. The Spirit of God is all powerful. You are the Christ light. It's not what you have to do. It's just accepting it. And here, this massive, powerful lion is sitting, watching how this shepherd saved one lost sheep. And learning from the shepherd. That's you. And then the lion can go out amongst the jungle, the third level plane of Satan. Not fight. Collect the rest of the lost sheep. And bring them back to the head shepherd. And the head shepherd will pat the lion, the disciple, on the head. Job well done, my beloved and faithful servant. That's what it's all about. You know, I'm asked 1,000 times, oh my gosh, members of the council of PPF keep saying to me, gosh, I would have exploded. How do you have patience to say the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over and over again? My gosh, you have the patience of the saint. I hear that all the time, and I do not have patience. I used to say patience is a virtue, and I ain't got that patience. It's not that. I sit in the Christ light, and I acknowledge that they're asking a question because they're seeking something. Who am I to decide if they're stupid or not? That's what we would say as members of the third level earth when someone asks the same question 15 times. Oh my God, how stupid is that one? They're not stupid. They wandered into the camp of Satan, and Satan programmed them in such a way they can't hear the truth anymore. And it may take the repetition of hearing it 75,000 times before they break the hold of Satan. And who are you to deny that? A disciple doesn't give up. Does all this make sense? So Today, number 33, number 1 for today, do not despise the little ones. Those are the believers, the new believers. Number 34, number 2 for today, go to your offenders in private. And number 35, which is number 3 today, forgive your offenders as much as they need. Make sense? So that's it. So does this make sense to everyone? Can you see in yourself how we only threw the life jacket maybe once or twice? Oh, yeah. Okay, so with the C, how many of you who read this passage before actually thought it meant children? Put a C if you did. Almost everybody. Do you see? Do you see what having eyes to see and ears to hear actually changes? Now, let me ask this. Okay, stop with the C's. How many of you, knowing what I just said, put an R, that it resonates more than if it was children? Almost everybody. Cool. So real quick, Nazif said, I heard differently. We don't have to forgive. Well, you heard wrong of what forgiveness is. Forgiveness is not saying it's okay that somebody went against you. Oh, no, 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 no. If that was what forgiveness is, then Jesus would not say, go and talk to them, because they can shit all over you then. That is not what forgiveness is. Forgiveness is letting it go from you. You have no more authority to judge someone, to forgive them. You have that. You do not have that authority. You are not judge and jury of someone else. So how can you forgive them? You cannot. Otherwise, you're judging them. But you do have the authority of yourself. And you have the authority to forgive means to release the crap that you're holding on to. And this is proof positive. You all heard this in me if you've been around for a long time. But how many times has somebody offended you? And you do this. You walk around your house, son of a bitch, you know, hours, days, you go to sleep, you dream about it, you wake up in the morning, the first thing, I can't believe my sister did this to me. I can't believe this. And do you know what my sister did? That is what forgiveness means. To stop. Let it out of your field. You are not hurting anybody but yourself. You stop being judge and jury. You stop crossing dominion. Are you crossing dominion when you're judging someone? Absolutely. If you don't let it go, if you judge them, you shall be judged. You want the house? You want all of this? Take it. I let it all go. Look, I can breathe. Marilyn says some things are very hard to let go. So Marilyn, I'm going to ask you this question. I'm really going to ask you this. Is anything on this third level plane or anything anybody does to you hard, more important than entering into your inheritance and accepting the kingdom of heaven? Is anything more important than that? But that's what you ask yourself. My fight with my brothers, my fight with this one, my fight. It doesn't matter what it is. You walk away. If they're not coming back, you don't take it. No, this is not the place, Rita. This isn't the place for that. Marilyn, you shouldn't have wrote that either. This is a public platform. But you walk away. If you just walk away. Remember, you're a shepherd in training. Things happen to people because they didn't choose to be a disciple. And some things you'll have to, if you can let go of things, you don't have to keep going into the pits of hell. But if you can't get shepherdhood, if you will, training for shepherd, if you can't get that down, you'll keep being dragged to the mud until you can learn it. So Catherine writes this: if everything is a frequency, so the frequency of a word in English, German, French, and Italian, whatever, when one reads the Bible in another language, are there differences? So I'm going to say the same thing to you that Gabriel said to me. So you're telling me the creator of all that is and all that will ever be can't get books written in different languages? Here's the thing. Satan is not free. Divinity is free. It's free will. It's God's will. So, picture two soda machines. You all know what or water machines. You know, you put your money in, soda comes out. There's this one, the satanic one. You keep putting money in and sludge comes out. The drinks that you get are destructive, fearful, evil, dark, and damaging. And you are putting your Christ light into that machine to prosper and create more sludge. Or you can go over to this one and say, Christ light, please. And it just happens. So when you open your mouth about somebody's illness, dis-ease is what it is. Dis-ease on the system. You're feeding the sludge machine. Capiche?
Hi, I'm Leana from PowerPassionFreedom.com. If you liked what you heard, why don't you come and join us on Sundays? We do a whole free question and answer period followed by a meditation. Bring all your questions. All you have to do is go to PowerPassionFreedom.com to register for Sunday. Oh, and don't forget to like us and subscribe to us below because we're always adding new meditations and content and you don't want to miss out on it. I'll see you Sunday.